Good morning, Singapore. This side, Rahul Magan here is a Group Chief Executive of Treasury Consulting Group and also a venture capitalist, which is a $25 million company now and hopefully $100 million by December 20. But today we are going to speak about a very important topic, which is exactly what exactly is happening in the banking sector and how the MBA Finance can take up this as an opportunity. As you know that I'm also MBA, Masters in Business Administration. I think that this is predominantly my responsibility and also my duty to share my knowledge with the MBA fellows so that they can take this further. Now, first of all, today sitting on 5th of May 2019 at Singapore, we need to remember that yesterday was a beautiful day when Bank of International Settlement, which is BIS, a regulator of regulators, came up with a revised framework of BIS, which can be termed this into two parts. I always mention this as BIS Basel 3 revised. There are people, those who call this as Basel 4. That's up to you, how you take it. That doesn't matter. Name doesn't matter. What matters is the context, right? We also need to understand that in 2022, FRTB is coming. Fundamental Review of the Trading Book is coming. We don't know what exactly what would come because there are multiple drafts in the public domain. We have in October 2020, 610 is coming, and hopefully be the neighbor, which is Hong Kong, would take up their own version of 610. We don't know. Okay. Then we have SFTR is coming, Security Financing Transaction Regulation revised framework of SFTR is coming, PRA 110 is coming. There is a news that MiFID second revised version is coming. So a lot of things which is happening in the banking parlance. But there is one more thing which is happening in the banking, which is that firing is going on. We know that Morgan Stanley fired, Deutsche fired, JP Morgan Chase fired, Goldman Sachs fired, HSBC fired, almost what not, ANZ, and now our own bank, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, joined the league. They're firing 10,000 people. Now, for an MBA, there are two ways. Gone are the days in 2007 and 2008, and I consider myself very lucky that the corporate used to hire or the banks used to hire these MBA professionals and give them the opportunity to learn within the system for 2 years, 3 years, and then contribute, because they were having the time in their hand. But today that is not the scene. Today, if you are as an MBA, you need to understand everything holistically and you need to learn in such a way that you are a ready-made solution for the bank. So once a bank would come and bank would say that we wanted to hire you, bank would be able to hire you up immediately and able to put you at the desk. Max to max, you can have a honeymoon period of 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, not more than that. So honeymoon period of more than 3 weeks is not permitted. But see the MBA institutions which we have right now. Indian Institute of Management. I don't know how many Indian Institute of Management the government has opened up now, because every second day we have one institution which is coming up different part of the country. So I call them MBA A, B, C, D, E, F till Z. How many IITs we have? Indian Institute of Technology. And apart from that, we have multiple MBA institutions in India. How many these institutes, like Narsi Monji, how many these institutions are making their MBA students capable of the revised frameworks which are coming in the market domain? How many MBA institutions including the so-called AIIMS, those who even dare yesterday to circulate the 1868 pager, I call this frankly 1900 pager, to circulate the 1900 pager document to their students, those who pursuing MBA, that boss, this is something which has came up and you need to read this. How many MBA institutions those who are talking it about the probable impact of fundamental review of the trading book on the banks? How many institutions those who even dared to talk about that Hong Kong, our neighbor, launched the Hong Kong warrants while Singapore don't? Every place Singapore is not number one. So this time Singapore is facing competition from Hong Kong in bespoke and Quanto, and I think it is healthy, because healthy competition is always good for countries. You get a chance to improvement, government is on the toes, regulator is on the toes, and they will vying for a common business, which is good. Healthy competition is always good. Nothing wrong in that. Hong Kong yesterday, few days ago, launched Hong Kong warrants, and I hope that Singapore government will retaliate soon. And SGX would surely be launching their own version of SGX warrant. But that is future. But the question is that how many MBA institutions, even the so-called faculties, even dared to tell their students that boss, we have another version of warrant which is Hong Kong warrant. And probably we know that Singapore and Hong Kong are always in a healthy mode of competition. Singapore government will, and SGX alongside MAS, Monetary Authority of Singapore, would surely be launching their version as well. Last but not the least, how many MBA institutions we know, those who are pushing their people towards a very important thing which is happening in the investment banking domain, which is the usage of the blockchain, which is the investment banking trading architecture. The way investment bankers used to trade in the common stock exchanges in the form of IPO, FPO, debt issuances and multiple, this is history now. History and mystery. Now investment bankers worldwide, which is Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan and multiple, the leading investment bankers, they are coming on blockchain. They know if they need to see themselves in the future, if they really wish to see themselves in the future, they have to come on blockchain, else they are mystery and history both. And Goldman Sachs is trying very hard, take my words, to come on that. But the question is that how many investment banking jobs will fall once the bank like GS, Goldman Sachs, will completely on the blockchain architecture in the investment banking? I don't think less than 10,000 jobs alone in the Goldman Sachs. How many MBA institutions are prepared for that? So as an MBA, you're left with two options to wind up this video. Option number one, either you manage yourself up to the environment which is there outside, which is the revised draft of BIS, which is Fundamental Review of Trading Book, which is SFTR, MiFID II, PRA, MAS 610 and whatnot, GDPR, or you wait for your person who is known as faculty, who comes to your class and he will continue to teach you XIRR and NPV. Last but not the least, to wind up this video, without quoting the name of a bank, we have one bank in Singapore who quitted. Bank not quitted, bank let the one part which is equity division to move out of Singapore to Hong Kong. I have a deep respect for Singapore, everyone know that. I am thankful to our late beloved Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew, who left with a great legacy, and because of him we youngsters are getting a lot of benefit, and the work he did, we are getting the benefit. I'm thankful to him. I'm thankful to the government, Prime Minister Lee, Finance Minister Hang, Monetary Authority of Singapore, SGX. It's a wonderful environment always here. Missing a single day in Singapore is just like you wasted 24 hours of life, right? But still, that bank quitted Singapore and moved to Hong Kong. Now the question is that Hong Kong creating a tough competition for Singapore in Quanto and bespoke space, which I think is pretty healthy, because competition should be healthy. Both governments will vying for a common piece of business, and it's good that both governments come up with their own versions. It's good for consultancy company like us as well in that space, and especially once we are coming up with an arbitrage desk soon. Question here is, how many MBA institutions you know, IIT, IIM and others, those who dare to teach their students that boss, the deads or the mummies are awake now. Bespoke is no more a mummy, and Quanto is definitely not. Probably if you are an MBA and you really wish to do something different in your life, you would get to know that maybe 6 months or 1 year down the line, Hong Kong will create a tough competition in the bespoke and the Quanto space for Singapore. And I'm damn sure that Singapore government will retaliate in a positive way and in a very strongest way, the way the Singapore government is known to. And I would be waiting for that. And all efforts would be to support Singapore. But in that, the most important thing which would always be there, either it is from the Hong Kong side or the Singapore side, is that the functional understanding of Quanto and bespoke has to be there. If you don't have that functional understanding, we cannot help Singapore, we cannot help Hong Kong. But the question is that is MBA institutions are even bothered to talk about these things in the so-called classes? I would like to summarize my short discussion with 3 questions, then I say thank you very much. By question number 1, once the MBA finance people from finance background in MBA, basically specialization in MBA, because we MBAs are generally dual specialization, because I am also MBA. So once you have a dual specialization MBA and one of the major topic you are choosing finance, you ever been even taught that these things are happening in the market? Or you are just doing IRR, XIRR, capital budgeting, capital rationing, the concept which are done and dusted? Question number 2. Would you, or your so-called faculty members or the business schools are giving you any opportunity to travel to Singapore and see that how exactly the banking works? Or you yourself, if you can afford, are taking 10 days out of your course and 5 days visiting to Singapore and 5 days to Hong Kong. Singapore-Hong Kong flight is just 45 minutes away. And see that what exactly it is happening. And third important thing is that, do you really wish to learn whatever I am saying after 10 years, or you wanted to learn now so that when the banking sector is changing at a faster pace, we are able to contribute immediately? First, let me wind up this video with one statement. Banking is changing at a very faster pace. I think it is changing what even I envisaged, but I am lucky. I consider myself lucky because it is changing when I am young. I can work 24/7. Singapore is with us. Now soon Hong Kong will be with us, and hopefully next year Saudi would be with us. It's changing very fast. It is good for us. But my question is, I really don't want to contribute in 2022-23 when everything would happen. I want to contribute immediately. Would you be able to contribute immediately, or are you still waiting that when everything would settle in 23, 24, then I see myself in any company as a business analyst, senior business analyst, manager, senior manager, whatever designations, and I will crib that, oops, I missed. My last question, do you really see that the job of a business analyst will be there after 5 years? Or the role of a business analyst would be done by robots? Just think it out. Come out of the notion, right? Come out of your classroom and try to see the world from a practical angle. Else, one day you would be a classroom. With this, Treasury Consulting, thank you very much from Singapore, one of the lovely countries of the world, beautiful government, excellent infrastructure, receptive government, a lot of positive things. You know our mobile number 919899242978. You know our fixed income platform www.fixedincome.global. Treasury Consulting is heading as a $100 million company in next 1 year. And more than 1500 videos alone on the YouTube. Our magazine is on the way, our arbitrage desk is on the way, our VC fund is on the way, our 4 top desks, defense desk, commodities desk, DCM, and peer-to-peer repo is on the way, and hopefully by 2022 we would be almost equal to a bank in any domain of the globe. The only thing that differentiates with us and somebody else in 22 would be the banking license, and that we will get. You need not to be worried about that. Singapore government ourselves will give the banking license soon. No need not to be worried, because we carry a vision. We never restrict ourselves to a classroom, right? Life is not a classroom, my friends. Life is pretty big. Live it in a big way, or be a classroom. Thank you. Hope you like Singapore.